I very surprisingly found myself in a cinema the other week watching Dune Part Two, and yes, it's spectacular. And a couple of caveats as to why I went. I got a discounted ticket through a membership I have. So in other words,
is that what it takes? Is that what it takes today, Ben?
I didn't have to pay the full $25 fee to get in. So that was obviously a contributing factor. And I also had the sneaking suspicion that the film itself would actually remind me of what the types of films I used to like, and it definitely did, because it felt like I'd been transported back to the 90s or the early 2000s, and it was like, oh yeah, this is what cinema is supposed to do, kind of thing. So great film, and it's worthy of all the accolades it's getting, but there is a disturbing trend. Obviously this was in Canada, but I just made a joke about how expensive the ticket price was and how I wouldn't have gone if I was paying full price for it. But this idea that just for individual films in particular, if there's a sense that in this case Dune Part 2 had its ticket prices raised just because it was Dune Part 2 and there was a lot of interest in it, in other words, to gouge the cinema goer for more revenue. That's again like, this is another reason why I've lost interest in cinema, because it's getting to this level where they're trying to like squeeze blood out of a stone and try and extract as much cash as possible. It's not to say that hasn't always been the intention, but I just thought that the balance was a bit better in the past when it came to this sort of thing.
Well, we've seen it before, I guess, with Back to the Future 2 and 3, and I think even Kill Bill 1 and 2. And so at Hollywood, someone's thinking back and, looking at these ways that they can connect films and extract maximum, ticket price, I guess. But it's fantastic to hear that it's shot well and it's the sort of cinema you enjoy. I mean, it probably sounds like I better go and watch it.
But not without watching Dune Part 1, of course.
I think I can watch that at home, and then I'll go and enjoy Dune Part 2 in the cinema. I might even pay full price.
Yeah, I haven't read the original book, but from what I've, read now, and I should probably go and read the original book, it sounds like they stuck pretty close to the book itself, which is obviously always handy when they actually stick to the source material. There were apparently a couple of big changes that they did, but again, transition to the big screen, some things have got to happen, and that people have just got to live with that. One interesting little side note was just reading up in my reading about that Frank Herbert had apparently wanted to sue George Lucas for copyright infringement on Star Wars, because if you actually have a look at, June's story, there are some similarities with Star Wars in there that are quite interesting once you actually have them pointed out to you. But they are very different stories, and, Star Wars is obviously the feel-good, good guys beat bad guys kind of scenario, whereas June's a lot more nuanced. Essentially, what I thought was refreshing about it was that essentially it's saying that in the process of becoming the hero and, avenging injustice and taking down the bad guys, you end up becoming the villain yourself, which I thought was quite highbrow for a Hollywood film. Let's just put it that way.
Wow, but remember, it wasn't written in Hollywood, so if it's true to the book, so it's interesting you say that all up. I get the similarities between Dune and Star Wars, but having said that, I can think of probably another 3 or 4 sci-fi stories that he could have accused Lucas of borrowing from. Maybe he was the original and everyone else copied him. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.